Hi friends, welcome to a math lesson. Yesterday you got a little bit of a taste of comparing numbers. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about that, more in detail, more in depth about comparing numbers. And that little symbol means a lot of things, but it can also stand for number. So put numbers down there. So we're going to talk about three different phrases: greater than, less than, and equal to. So we're going to talk about when you look at two numbers, you compare them and you decide which one's greater than, which one's less than, or if they're equal to. So when you're comparing numbers, you read it from left to right just like you would a book. So if I was looking at a number, I would look at a number that was over to the left first and compare it to the one that's on the right. So for example, I'm going to look at two-digit numbers. If I look at 25 and then let's do 32. So I'm looking at 25 and 32 and I'm going to compare those two numbers. When we compare numbers, it's very important that we look at the tens place first, and we can use the tens place to help us compare numbers. So 25 has two tens. There we go again. Has two tens. And then 32 has three tens. So you can answer out loud, which one has more? Which one has more tens? 32 has more tens. So 32 is the one that's greater. But remember, when we compare numbers, we read from left to right. So if this one has more, that means over here, this one has less. That means 25 has less or is less than 32. So if I were to write our vocabulary, I would say 25, and leave enough space. 25 is less than 32. 25 is less than 32. It has fewer tens, and we compare the tens first. We could count out the ones if we wanted to, but if we just look at the tens, we can compare numbers quicker. So 25 is less than 32. All right, let's look at another one. Let's look at 54 and 48. 54 and 48. We're comparing numbers. We're looking at the tens place first. So 54 has 5 tens. And 48 has 4. 48 has 4 tens. So when I look at 54 compared to 48, 54 has more than 48. So that makes 54 greater than. 54 is greater than 48. 54 is greater than 48. All right. Well, sometimes you might have the same number. So if I have 17 and 17, I could look at the tens, but if I just say those numbers, if I say 17, 17, it's the same number. So I would say 17 is equal to. Equal to means the same. So 17 is equal to 17. Same number. So what happens if I look at the tens and the tens place is the same? So if I look at 12 and 17, I know those are different numbers. They're not the same number. I'm going to look at the tens place, and they both have 1 10. well, they both have 110, but I can't say they're equal. I can't say 12 is equal to 17 because they're two different numbers. So if you're comparing numbers and you know you don't have the same number, but you look at the tens and they're the same, now you have to move over and check out the ones. Now you have to go and you have to compare the ones. So 12 has 110 and two ones. 17 has 110 and 7 ones. So now I don't need to compare the tens now. Now I just need to compare the ones. So over here I have 2 ones. And over here I have 7 ones. When I think about 2 and 7, 2 compared to 7, 2 is less. So 12 is less than 17. If I reverse those numbers, so if I'm writing the numbers the opposite way, so if I wrote 17 over here and 12 over here, would I still write less than in the middle? Because remember I compared this direction like I'm reading a book. Would I still say less than? I wouldn't say less than this time because now I'm starting with 17. They both have the same amount of tens, but 17 has 7 ones and 12 has 2 ones. So now the number over here is greater than. So I would say 17 is greater than 12. So when you're comparing numbers, you compare from the left to the right, just like you would read a book. You use those words greater than, less than, and equal to. Look at the tens place first. Compare the tens place. If the tens are the same, then you move over to the ones, and then you use the ones to compare from there.